ghost stories. Like, well, I got real ghost stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit really happened to me. And a lot of people, like, they doubt it because, it's like if they've never experienced it, like, obviously they're going to, say that it was just,
Yeah, people's like seeing is believing. They won't believe it
yeah,
until they see it.
exactly. But you
Well, no, to
experience
follow up
these
with your
paranormal
story,
things.
to follow up with your story though, like I was actually going through a thread the other day on some forums, just out of just checking stuff out of boredom, I guess you would
Mm-hmm.
say, to kill my boredom, because boredom must die. That's why we're here. And there's a lot of RNs and a lot of medical professionals who have said, who work in hospice and things of that sort, where
Mm-hmm.
they see like 90% of their job, they see people pass. And so
Right.
they were saying that they were at the scene when the person was passing away, and all of a sudden their eyes would light up and be like, "There you are! I've been waiting for you for so long," and that was their last breath. Poof, they're gone. And they would be looking in corners of the rooms, and they would be looking behind the RNs and stuff. And the RNs are just like, "What are you? Who are you talking to?"
Mm.
So there is a lot of stories of people who work in hospice that see stuff like that. So, I mean, it could be totally valid. And then on top of that too, they also have demon type stories too, where they see, like, have you seen that man wearing the dark robe? And they say they would watch the patient's eyes track across the room.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Um, this really isn't a ghost story, perhaps, or anything like that. But there was one time when my dad had a mild heart attack, and of course you guys know my dad passed away last year. But like of course this was way before, and this is like I think it was a year. It was the year he started declining rapidly in health, and he had a mild heart attack.
Right, and
And
I just want to say though, we love you here, Stars. We absolutely love you, and we support you. I know it's a rough time of year. We're recording this right before Father's Day, so
yeah,
thank you for sharing your stories with us.
no problem. Like he had a mild heart attack, and the day he had that, he was babbling about things. Like I don't know if anyone's witnessed someone having a heart attack or witnessed someone going through strokes and stuff like that, but my dad used to have mild strokes, or like mini strokes they called it in the hospital, is of like half their body shuts down or like gets limp, like you can't work, you can't move and stuff. That's what happened to my dad sometimes. And so he had that mild heart attack, and he was babbling on about his dad and his mom, and they've been passed away since 2001. Like my grandmother passed away in 2001. My grandfather passed away a year after I was born. And so he was babbling on about like talking to them, like he was talking to them and stuff, and he kept saying mom and dad and all that, and then he woke up finally, and he didn't remember anything what he said, like he didn't know he was talking or anything. It was really weird, and I know like I don't
No,
know
no,
if this like
yeah,
considers that ghost stories or
yeah.
anything, but like
It
it's
follows
just
up with RN type stories where
yeah,
Yeah, it did follow him.
it's just that's what happened to my dad one time, and so it's really weird, and
well, it
and I'm
almost it
just
gives a certain sense of validity to this. Like, I mean, you can't
yeah,
experience it until like when you experience it, you're gone.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's something that's observable in behaviors. They can actually be measured. For people who are in hospice or people who are passing away, and they do see these things. They have some sort of communication. Maybe it's something that's near death, where you might see something you wouldn't see your entire life because you're not going. You're not dying until the day when it nears. So that's definitely interesting. I think it does give a certain aspect, because you only experience that once. That's a one-time experience, and you don't get to share it. Not with anyone living, anyways.
yeah.
So I definitely, there is signs or indications that might be something that requires more research or something to be looking into. I mean, according to several surveys, roughly 50. I mean, I looked at 3 different surveys, and according to all the surveys, roughly 50% of Americans believe ghosts and demons exist. Science, of course, tries to explain the unexplainable, and one of the explanations for the paranormal is dreaming with your eyes open, which is called sleep paralysis, or this is when hallucinations occur. This might explain out of body experiences, paranormal, or other experiences. While in REM or REM sleep, the body becomes paralyzed as well, so you physically can't move. And that's one way that they try to explain some of the situations where you see shadowy figures at night, where you see these hallucinations, is through night terrors or through your REM sleep, dreaming with your eyes open, sleep paralysis. The other explanation that science will give this as well is the phantom feeling. Another explanation is a phantom feeling. That's how science tries to explain some of this as well. And the phantom feeling is if you ever feel like your hand's wet or something and it's just cold, you actually physically look at your hand, or it could be your phone vibrating and it's not vibrating. You have no notifications, but you feel like your phone is. And sometimes you might be sitting there taking a poop, just looking at the carpet, patterns on the floor. You might see faces. This once again is considered hallucinations. It also accounts for people seeing faces and shadows in your closet, patterns in clothing, patterns in floors, seeing faces where people might not place faces together. A good example of that would be like a bowling ball. If you tilt a bowling ball the right way, and for the people who can see faces, who can make faces out of inanimate objects, you're going to see a surprise face on the bowling ball with the 3 holes.
Interesting idea would be the man on the moon.
Yeah, no, that's another one too. That's a good example too. Is if you can actually physically see a face in the moon or something like that, it's part of your brain. And it's your mind associating faces with objects, which actually has a scientific name, pareidolia. And this is where your brain gives images and objects faces, or they see people and things and patterns. It's kind of like watching clouds and seeing what shapes clouds take. And technically, there is no evidence to prove that ghosts exist. Not yet. Science is nothing more than observation. Technically, science doesn't prove anything to begin with. It gives theories into the unknown and the unexplained, to make sense of what we cannot see. That being said, you have ghost hunters and paranormal investigators who commonly use video cameras, EMF readers, and thermal sensors. The most interesting and probably most familiar is the EMF readers, the electromagnetic fields, which spike when paranormal activities happen. And so that is what we're limited to for gear in terms of just trying to capture observances of ghosts. I also think that the whole RN thing is definitely valid as well. I think there is something behind that could be looked into or investigated more. But overall, for Boom and Stars, do you think ghosts exist? If you do, why or why not?
I do. And I think they exist because, like most theories is like they have unfinished business, or they're just looking over people. Like, to be honest, whenever I had that experience with my uncle, I'm pretty sure he was looking over my aunt. Whenever I lost my dad, some part of me hoped that I would be able to see him, like I did with my uncle. And I didn't get to see that. I haven't yet, but I do hands down think they exist, and I think they're here for reasons we might not know, and I believe they exist because of the experience I've had and just the belief in the unknown, I guess, would be a
Well,
reason.
yeah, no, totally. I mean, that would be a comforting thought that someone that you love who has passed on is with you. Not physically, but they might be watching over you.
Yeah.
What about you, Boom?
I do think spirits exist. Obviously, like your soul essence, is a whole thing, right? So it's like you that makes you, maybe doesn't die. Your organism that you're currently, your vessel, let's call it, right? That's what's dying. So I do believe ghosts do exist, but I don't think I don't think they're what everyone kind of makes them out to be. Like not a
So, like
Casper
media
type thing.
wise,
I think
yeah.
they're more of like your soul essence, like you're like kind of stars was saying, if you had a sole purpose on the earth, like protecting your loved one or something, and you died, say, feeling unfulfilled of that sole purpose, I would imagine your soul would linger around a little bit longer, just to you know I mean, maybe I don't
Fulfill that
know, maybe
purpose. Try
be
to
be at
accomplish
peace or
that
something.
purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
until you felt that there wasn't a need for you to be there until you watched that certain particular event or something take place, and you said it's okay now.
Yeah, exactly. And the large reason why I believe that is because my house growing up, and it might have just been because I was a kid and I was told that it was haunted, but a lot of the shit that I experienced, I can't simply like fucking explain other than somebody just telling me that I'm crazy, right? And I'll take that L, sure. But everything that I've seen, like, I believe that they're real, and I just it'd be hard to convincing myself that they're not, unless I was just to come like if I were to just come to the terms that I would crazy. But I mean, I don't need to come to those terms because I'm pretty fucking solid. Like I'm pretty sure that
We haven't seen any mental
they're real.
breakdowns yet.
I mean, not saying that they haven't happened before, but you guys haven't seen them.
Right. Right. I mean, I definitely do think there might be I think ghosts might exist, especially after hearing our stories from our ends and different careers and professions that deal with human life. And that includes soldiering. That includes people who are professional soldiers, people who work in EMTs, people who work in hospitals as RNs. The list goes on, and I do think there might be some validity behind their stories. I guess one day we'll find out when we all punch that ticket out.
It is actually interesting that you say that about soldiers, because and whether I guess it's legal to do this or not, I have walked battlefields at nighttime, like old Civil War
Oh yeah.
battlefields, because I do live in like around the area, and I've never seen anything. The only ghost experience I have ever experienced in my entire, and I have looked for them. I assure you, because I want to prove to myself that I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I have walked down haunted roads at nighttime, not by myself because I'm not crazy, of course. But I mean, not vandalizing anything. We're just walking,
No, it's a certain
minding our own
sense. It's
business.
a certain sense of
But
wanting to find out the truth.
it's yeah, and I've never seen anything while looking for it. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
that's what
like,
makes it so damn juicy and so damn exciting.
yeah, it's big
It's
facts.
it's it's
And
chasing something that can't be proven yet. It's still an area that might be able to be pioneered. I mean, maybe in the future, maybe technology might be able to indicate something or give us something. We don't know. But regardless, it's still something that's unknown that satisfies us to give us that urge of truth and sense that we're investigating the unknown. Like everything about the unknown, either you run away from it and you're scared, or you dive straight into it head first.
I agree wholeheartedly.
No, definitely. Um, and that has been Boredom Must Die. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any ghost stories, please feel free to share with us in the comments, on Twitter, anywhere you feel that you can share your stories with us. We definitely want to hear them, and definitely share them with Boom and Stars as well, so you can tell us what has happened to you. Give us all the juicy details, stories. Make it as detailed as humanly possible. Thank you guys for listening. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode.